The CRF300L, Honda's budget-friendly dual sport that has become pretty popular over the past few years. It's lightweight, reliable and surprisingly capable out of the box. Until the terrain gets a little rough. This year, Honda claims the suspension has been improved. But how does it fare after putting some real-world kilometers on it?
When picking up my new 2025 CRF300L, the suspension array felt really similar to the old 2023 CRF300L. And since then I've ridden a lot, on pavement, gravel roads, single track and rougher off-road terrain. I've put the suspension to the test to see if I would like it. And in my experience, if you stick to the smoother roads or light trails, it works good. But especially when you hit a series of bumps, the soft suspension turns into a pogo stick, just like the previous edition. The front compresses easily and gets overwhelmed. The rear shock is no better. It lacks control and starts bouncing around instead of absorbing the hits. Compared to Lucky's CRF, that has a hyper-pro shock, it feels like the bike is bouncing a lot more after impact. So in this video we're going to Adventure Bike Experience Center to replace the suspension for a better setup. Even though I love working on my own bike, I will leave working on the suspension to the experts over there. We decided to go for the Rally Raid Level 1 suspension kit, front and rear, because it's one of the best available in the area where we live. Besides, I plan to use the bike for a long time and just want a good setup to start with.
So before we show you the shocking difference between the old and the new suspension, you might have noticed that we didn't go for the hydraulic preload adjuster. A lot of people recommend that because it's kind of a pain to get to the preload collar from the outside of the bike. But Emma and I always ride with one of two settings, that is with luggage or without luggage. And basically on the CRF300L it isn't that hard to get the shock out of the bike. You just put it on a stand, remove 3 bolts, and you can get the shock out of the frame and into a vise. And it's pretty easy to adjust then. So we basically mark the two settings out on the shock body and then we'll adjust it before and after a trip, and that's no problem for us. But having said that, if you're the person that doesn't like working on your own bike, or if you go on trips on which you switch around your load a lot, for instance if you leave your luggage at a hotel and go ride without luggage and then transfer to another hotel and ride with luggage, you might want to opt for the hydraulic preload adjuster because that's a lot easier to adjust on the trip.
Alright, let's put it to the test. After the install, the difference is immediate.
Whoa. Oh, this makes such a difference.
It no longer bottoms out on the hard bumps and it's a lot easier to hit a series of bumps because it doesn't bounce as much. Also, when riding small jumps, you can clearly see the difference on impact. Before, the bike bounced 3 or 4 times after landing. And with the new suspension, it's stable as soon as it hits the ground. And even though it might not seem like much, I can tell you it feels like a completely different bike and gives me loads of confidence while riding off-road. One of the things that changed a lot is riding over loose sand. I didn't expect that it would make such a difference, but the bike now glides through it.
Oh man, sand is also alright. It feels much more stable.
So this one upgrade transforms the CRF300L into the bike we wish Honda would have released in the first place. But then again, the stock suspension makes the bike really affordable, and for a lot of people it's all they need. If you want your CRF to handle better off-road, we definitely recommend looking into this upgrade. We have a big off-road trip coming up on which a new suspension will certainly be a big help for riding the gnarly bits. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out, and like or comment on this video. We'd love to hear your experience with suspension setup.